Now, suspended public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane says her investigators could not get hold of the former Sars executive accused of having headed up an alleged rogue unit. Johan van Lochrenberg has told the impeachment inquiry in Parliament into her fitness to hold office that he was blatantly disregarded when she compiled a 2019 report. That's despite being in touch with his lawyers just 3 weeks prior. Meanwhile, Mkhwebane says she will be writing to President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa to testify about claims he's made against her, including that of perjury. My colleague, reporter Lindsay Detlinger, joining us now live this hour just to give us an update again from Parliament. Good afternoon, Lindsay. Thanks for your time here on Today this afternoon. It's been Van Lochrenberg's chief complaint, as we heard from yesterday, that he was totally disregarded by the public protector in her investigation. We got a glimpse of her response to that today. Just take us through that exchange.
Well, Dan, it took us a little bit of time before we got to that point, which has essentially been, as you've pointed out, Van Lochrenberg's chief complaint before this inquiry. But he was first asked about alleged illicit activity within the rogue unit, a bit of a semantic exchange between him and Dali Mpofu, the legal representative for the public protector, over whether it was a so-called rogue unit. Mr. Van Lochrenberg saying it's disrespectful to even continue calling it a rogue unit when we now know that that has been debunked. They went through a number of other reports, the Sikhakhane report, the KPMG report, all relating to the investigation on the so-called rogue unit. And it was only this afternoon during this cross-examination that Mr. Mpofu went to the point of addressing Mr. Van Lochrenberg's concerns that he had been ignored in this investigation. And Mr. Mpofu saying that the investigators in the public protector's office could not track him down. This despite all the options Mr. Van Lochrenberg gave this inquiry yesterday as to how these investigators could have gone about finding him, and the fact that his legal team had been in communication with that office. So he told Mr. Mpofu that while it was plausible these investigators couldn't find him, he wasn't exactly going to buy that argument. And then the evidence leader, Nazreen Bauer, interjecting there, wanting to check whether that is the official evidence that Mpofu is placing on the record, and to which the public protector will testify that that is the reason he was excluded from that investigation. And Mr. Mpofu a little bit hesitant, but saying for now that was the position that they were adopting. Here's some of that exchange that took place earlier today.
They informed her that they cannot find you. She had to take that at face value.
It's a possibility, certainly.
Thank you. That's all I need. Thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. President. Can I just understand, are you putting the public protector's version to Mr. Lochrenberg?
Sorry, I can't hear Chester.
No. Sorry.
Just repeat, Advocate Bauer, so that the witness can hear.
I just want to be clear so that I understand. Are you putting the version that your evidence will be, if either the public protector or another witness takes the stand, that's the version that will be before the committee that you're putting to this witness?
Not quite, because we still have to decide whether there'll even be a need to do that. But I'm happy, for the sake of progress, to say that's our version. Yeah, but I can't attribute it for now to this or that witness. Yeah, but that's our version. Yeah.
Lindsay, just on the other matter that's regarding the president that came up yesterday, and the president insisting that it's misdirected to call him to testify before this impeachment inquiry in Parliament, but the public protector disagrees with that.
She does indeed, Dan. So those earlier call was made, and that response you speak of there by the president was made in response to a call from the UDM leader, Bantu Holomisa, 2 days ago to the same inquiry. And today, before Mr. Mpofu cross-examined Mr. Van Lochrenberg, he wanted to put some matters on the table before the inquiry. And one of those, Dan, is him informing the committee that within the next day or two, he will be writing to the president, and he will be requesting the president and former presidents, Dan, whom he did not name, to possibly testify before this inquiry. He said it was unacceptable that President Cyril Ramaphosa had levelled accusations, including perjury, which is a criminal offence, against the public protector, and then not come and answer to his accusations here before this inquiry. And as we know, that CR17 campaign report is also at the heart of this inquiry that will eventually be dealt with. And Mr. Mpofu saying that if the president refused to heed that call to come and testify, that he would then lean on Parliament to use the processes through the summoning of witnesses to insist that the president come and testify. This is what he told the committee.
To call the president. We're going to write him a letter today or tomorrow to ask him, in line with the directives, if he's willing to come voluntarily. If not, then we will initiate a process for him to be summoned. And it is not for the reasons of dealing with the issue of suspension and all that per se, but just on the merits, on the fact that he has made certain accusations against the public protector, saying she's guilty of perjury and all sorts of things, which would be impeachable if they are true. But you'll see that when we send the letter. But the point is that actually I had then thought that would probably be as far as we go. But from some of the evidence now, and I suspect that will come from the cross-examination, it looks like we might even have to call other former presidents. I don't want to put their names at this stage, but you'll remember one of the charges has to do with a meeting with a president. Again, and that might not be necessary. For example, we could go to that person and say, did you meet with the public protector? The person might say yes or no. We go to the evidence leaders. They say, okay, we accept it at face value. Then obviously we can't call someone here for something that would have been agreed. We'll simply register to the committee that this has been agreed. But I suspect that with some of these people, it's going to be not that simple. With some of them, it might be that simple.
Finally, Lindsay, what should we expect next in this inquiry?
Well, the evidence leader, Nazreen Bauer, expressing concern before we wrapped here just under an hour ago that this committee is running behind schedule. They had set down a month and a half or so to hear testimony and then to be wrapped up before the end of September. But one of those 5 things Mr. Mpofu wanted to put on the table today, saying that if this was going to be a fair process, there's no way that this inquiry is going to wrap up within the time allotted by this committee. So we hear today that Mr. Van Lockenberg will be back here, or at least virtually, for a 3rd day tomorrow. He is still being cross-examined by Mr. Dali Mpofu. And then, Dan, he's still to face questions from MPs on this very matter where we're at right now. So slow going. We had expected possibly to have gotten to a second witness who we know will also be another former SARS executive, Mr. Ivan Pillay, possibly today, but highly unlikely that we'll probably even hear from him tomorrow, and if we do, maybe towards the end of the day, if at all, Dan.
Thank you very much, Lindsay Detlinger, for that comprehensive update from Parliament in regarding this impeachment inquiry.